one thing on the record first.
Sure.
So Toby, if you could put it down. I forgot to push record when the meeting started. So I just pushed record right now, and we'll obviously tape the rest. And it's just a simple mistake on my part. So I apologize, everybody.
Understood. It's not a normal function by far. Okay, so I put something out there. So board, are we okay with setting a finance committee meeting? Obviously, we invite our full board to our committee meetings, and we invite the public. So is that the way we want to move forward with this?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep, I would agree.
Okay.
Great.
I know there's some suggestions and some comments by the public in the chat. You know, it's a weird world we live in now, but typically folks wouldn't stand up in the middle of a meeting and make comments on what we're talking about. It's a distraction as we're trying to conduct business, but there are absolutely valid points made and things that should be heard. So I ask anyone who has a comment that they want to make, please get it ready for the comment section at the end of our meeting prior to exec. If it's important, it needs to be heard. It should be heard in the proper forum. I love to see the thanks and all the great positive remarks. Those are great. It's kind of like seeing someone, you know, give you the thumbs up when things are going on. But those other items that require a response or stoke a thought or something, they should be presented a little bit more uniformly during the community comment section. So all the points are valid. We're not dismissing them, but they need to be presented at the proper time in the proper forum. Okay, with that said, any further comment on the budget vote election results?
Do you want to try to set up a meeting right now?
Yeah, that would be great. Now, will we get it on the books? Let's see. All right. I'm sorry?
You know the committee members off the top of your head on the committee?
Top of my head is very fuzzy. So I think Mike's on.
Inside the head, top of the head.
I think Ella's on. But if you are on, please speak up, or Toby, let us know. But I think we go for a general consensus on a date. And a week from today would be the 24th of June. If everyone's okay with that, maybe we set it for that day.
I think it's good. I'm not on the committee, but I'm just, you know.
I am fine with me.
Fine with James. Ella, I believe you're on the committee. If I'm not incorrect, is the 24th. The 24th, Wednesday the 24th. Typically, we do those at 5:30. At least that's been the typical time we've done. All right. So I think Ella gave me a nod to the affirmative. So, all right. So let's do Wednesday the 24th at 5:30. Dan, do you see any conflicts with that date?
No, I'm good.
I do not.
Okay.
I'll send out an invite, and I will get a link posted under the virtual meeting section on our website for all the folks from the public out there, so that you will have access to that. And we've been putting them all right there under that one spot where you can click on and see all of our virtual meetings and get the links. So the 24th at 5:30.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. I'll send that out today, tomorrow, soon. I'll get it out to you guys so you have the link and all that good stuff.
Thank you all. Okay, so we're moving on to the consent agenda. I believe I can use a Dan word here, clump. I think I can clump these together. Can I get a motion for consent agenda A through F?
Motion.
Okay, I think I got Chris and Mike. Any discussion on that? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Hold on. You probably got to have So Dan, I don't think you had access to those items, Dan Shields. So
Yes.
just make sure that tonight we do all in favor, all against, and anybody abstaining.
Yeah,
'Cause
Dan's gonna have to.
He's gonna want to abstain because he hasn't been able to look at them. I'm not telling you what to do, Dan, but I just want to make sure that we all know exactly what we want to have on the record this evening.
Okay.
So we've got 8 yays, and Dan, do you agree with the abstention?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we have 1 abstain. Okay. All right, action items. We need a motion to accept the results of the June 16th, 2020 board vote election. Proposition 1, the school budget passed 431 yes to 386 no, but the budget did fail to meet the supermajority. I guess I can clump these as well. Proposition 2, the bus leases, the van purchase passed by a vote of 445 to 368. The board election seats, 1 5-year seat went to Christina Durkee with 502 votes, and 1 1-year seat that was in effect immediately upon the vote went to Dan Shields, 1-year seat with 360 votes. I need a motion to accept action item A in completion.
Motion.
Motion.
Anita,
Seconded.
Chris?
Yeah.
Second,
Any,
Who was second?
Chris.
Anita and Chris, yeah. Any discussion?
I would like to say congratulations to Dan and Christine, and wish them the best of luck.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for your service.
It's echoed from the board as well. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any, and Dan can vote on that, of course. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I did.
right.
Yeah.
So we have all, we're all good, right? Okay. 9-0. Okay. I need a motion to approve the CSE, CPSE recommendations as included in the board packets.
Motion.
Second.
Joe, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 And I believe Dan will abstain on that as well since it was
Yeah,
in
I
our
have to say
packets.
on that one. Yep.
Okay, so 1 abstain. Okay, so moved. Motion to approve the creation of a memorial fund in the private purpose trust in the memory of Chauncey Charles Ward. Will be funded by donations of the family and friends to support the continuance of the Chauncey C. Ward Perseverance Award given at graduation. I need a motion.
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 Chris and Anita, any discussion? Dan, did you want to add?
No, I do believe, Tom, that last year, every single one of our seniors walked away with something, based
Yeah.
on, all that. So, yeah.
No, I think it's fantastic. I want to take a second to recognize Dan for doing that. Dan and his family have created scholarships, not only this one, but others. And that's in the interest of giving scholarships to those students who would not otherwise qualify for scholastic or academic or any other type of scholarship or award. So Dan puts together some scholarships to make sure that everyone gets their name heard and receives some type of scholarship. So Dan, thank you from the board and the district to you and your family. And I know you take a lot of pride in presenting that award every year. It's one of the highlights of graduation when you do so. Thank you for that.
I just want to also add, I think that this scholarship that Dan's family has established for us is really, along with everything else that Mr. Ward has done for our school, I feel like it really speaks to the dedication and the commitment that he does have to the students here. And I think it's pretty great.
Absolutely.
Agree.
All right. I think Dan may choose not to speak on that.
Thank
So
you.
I will just briefly,
Okay.
just one. So the student may or may not be receiving other awards.
Right.
but that's all I wanted to say. And I don't do it for any accolade from anybody. If I could do it without having to have it on a board agenda, I would. But thank you for the recognition on it.
Absolutely. Okay. I need a, we have a motion on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? No, I'm sure not. Okay. All right. So passed. Item D, motion to approve the
Aye.
contract for educational services between the Fort Edward UFSD and Prospect School Center for Disability Services. That document was in your packet as well. I need a motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion.
Chris and Anita, any discussion?
I can abstain from
Yes,
that one.
okay, thank you, Dan. So.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so that's 8 and 1 abstention.
Aye.
Okay. All right, I need a motion to approve the security and temperature alarm system contract with Mahoney Alarms for the 2020 and 2021 school year. And again, that document was in our packets. I need a motion.
Motion.
Mike,
I'll second.
James, any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. And Dan, I believe you need an abstention on that as well.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Motion to approve the renewal. Do we have to table F? I think we have to table F, right?
No, so I'll jump back in. I'll turn the camera back on.
Okay.
So you can't table that one because there are specific deadlines for filing your mergers.
Okay.
So this does not commit you to appointing a coach. This does not commit you to having a team. What it does is it allows this merger to be approved at the Section 2 level and at the state level. But if we don't take action, you will miss a deadline, which may
Gotcha.
not be extended.
Understood. I need a motion to approve the renewal of the bowling merger with Argyle School for the 2020-2021 school year.
Motion.
Motion.
I didn't. I heard Joe. I don't know who else.
Motion.
Dan.
I think Dan got in there. Okay, so Dan. Yeah, let's get him in there with a vote rather than an abstention. So Dan
Yeah.
and
There we
Joe and any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, good. Alrighty. Motion to approve the contract for legal services between the Fort Edward Union Free School District and Gervin and Filazzo Law Offices for the 2020-2021 school year.
Motion.
Motion.
Second. Who was that? I missed that.
Who made
Me.
the
It
first
was
motion?
Anita.
I'm sorry. Anita, okay. Anita, and then the second was made by
Joe.
Joe.
Joe,
There you go.
okay.
Anita and Joe.
Second.
Any discussion on that one? Okay, we're certainly going to use them right off the bat regarding some questions we have already. All in favor?
Todd.
Aye.
Aye.
We go Todd.
Aye.
Joe.
All right. Any opposed? I don't think so. But, okay. All right, good. So passed.
I just got to get the
H.
any abstentions on that. Tom, can you do the abstention one every time just so we make sure we have it
Yeah,
right?
I didn't think it was. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Dan, you going to abstain or you want to vote on that?
No, I voted. I said aye.
Okay.
Okay, Dan voted. All right. Good. I just figured because it wasn't something that had any type of documents attached. All right. Motion to approve the contract for behavioral health services between Fort Edward Union Free School District and Northern Rivers for the 2020-2021 school year. That was in our board packet. Need a motion.
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 Mike and James, it sounded like.
Correct.
Oh, Chris, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mike and Chris, any discussion?
I have some. I work for Northern Rivers, so I need to abstain from this, correct?
Gotcha.
That
Yeah,
probably would be a good idea, Anita.
I guess, yeah.
I just wanted to clarify.
You just wanted to get on the abstention train there tonight, Anita. All right, so I have two motions. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we're gonna have two abstentions for that one. We're gonna have Dan and Anita.
Yep.
Okay, because that was something we had to read through there. Motion to approve the contract for occupational and physical therapy services between the Fort Edward Union Free School District and Advanced Therapy for the 2020-2021 school year. That was in the packets as well.
Motion.
Motion.
Chris and Anita, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? And any abstentions? And I believe that would be Dan Shields, right? Okay. All right. Motion to approve the contract for services between Fort Edward UFSD and Spec Ed. I don't know if that's an abbreviation or name. Solutions for 2020 and 2021 school year.
Yeah, so that's actually that's their business name. Spec Ed is their
Is
business
it?
name.
Okay. I don't recall seeing that, but okay. So need a motion.
Motion.
Anita?
Second.
Joe? Any discussion? All right. All in favor? And I think, again, we're going to need abstention, at least Dan to abstain. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? And then, Dan, we're going to give you an extension on that, correct?
Yeah, just me again.
There you go. Thank you. I think you might break the record for
Golly.
abstaining.
Taking the record for tonight.
We can hear you. You're contributing.
There you go. All right. So item K.
It'll be different.
Motion to approve the continuation of shared building maintenance services with Fort Ann Central School District for the 2020 and 2021 school year. I need a motion.
I'll make.
Motion.
Sound like Mike and James. Any discussion? All right. As earlier
Mike,
mentioned,
go
this is our agreements with Fort Ann to share Craig between two schools. So, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Oh, this time.
Any opposition?
Me.
Anita? One opposition.
And
And Dan Shields, did you care to vote or abstain?
Yes, I did. I said
voted?
aye.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. All right. So 8-1. Yay and nay. Okay. All right, personnel. Just excuse me while I go through this because there are some of these things that we need to table. Item A, Dan, that is as discussed, correct?
It is,
There's no reason
it is
to-
as discussed. I do have the actual draft MOA. Like I said at the beginning of the meeting, I did share committee and then out to the full board the terms that were going to be in that MOA. But probably best to actually view the MOA, and I'll share my screen in the executive session when we get there. The second one, letter B, that MOA was, I believe was in your packets. If not, I'll share it with you. But all that does is allow for retirement letters to come in beyond the normal required date that's in the contract. And certainly that's to the district's benefit to let folks retire that would like to retire.
Okay. So I need a motion to table personnel item A.
Motion.
Chris?
Seconded.
Anita? Any discussion? We discussed it. We're going to discuss it in executive session. So all in favor of tabling item A?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, so passed. Dan, I'm sorry. We should include B in that, correct?
So let's do it this way.
Yeah.
Let's ask the board if they want us to table items A through G. A through G, as they have to do with working conditions.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we need to also revise that motion or just make another motion. We need to table B through. We need a motion to table B through G.
Motion.
Motion or second?
Chris and Ella, we will discuss it further in executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Any abstentions?
Aye.
Okay.
Nope.
All right, so we're good. All right, so that's going to be discussed, and then I guess we may take action after it. Okay, I need a motion to accept with thanks and gratitude for exemplary service to the Fort Edward School District, the letter of resignation effective June 30, 2020, for the purpose of retirement from Sharon Flexen, 20 years of service.
So moved.
James,
Second.
Second.
Mike, any discussion?
Dan.
Okay. All in
Just wanna
favor?
Thank her. 20 years of service.
Aye.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Aye.
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 Any
Next
opposed?
question.
Okay, so moved. Thank you very much for your service, Ms. Flexen, if you are on the meeting.
I believe I saw her jump in, or her son jumped in, but I'm guessing it was probably her.
Okay.
So I'm going to just add a comment and try to hold it together. But Mrs. Flexen has worked as a special ed teacher in I believe all of her time has been in our high school for 20 years. There is a special place in heaven for teachers who work with the neediest of our students each and every day. And certainly the successes that have been realized by our kids are due to the efforts of everyone. But certainly these neediest students that she has worked with for countless hours over those 20 years is to be commended. And as I said, there's a special place in heaven for special educators. I hope she doesn't, I'm not sending her off to heaven yet. Although maybe retirement's going to feel like heaven for a
I'll
couple.
be close to it. Yeah,
But congratulations to you, Sharon.
absolutely. Okay. I need a motion to accept with thanks and gratitude for exemplary service to the Fort Edward School District, the letter of resignation effective June 30th, 2020, for the purpose of retirement from Tammy Gifford, 31 years.
Motion.
Motion.
I make a motion.
Second.
Sounds like
Dan.
Dan and
Sorry.
Ella.
I had to jump on that.
Dan and Ella. Okay.
Yes.
Dan and Ella. Any
Dan
discussion
and
on
Chris.
that?
Dan and Chris.
I'd like to say something. Tammy's worked with Joy, my wife, for I don't know how many years, and she is. Joy would come home and tell stories of just how much she cares and would go the extra mile, and just the hugs that she would give her. She really will be missed. She was a great person. She gave a lot to the school, so thank you.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of Tammy boats she served up in that cafeteria.
Tammy boats.
Yeah.
That's right.
My son,
Oh, yeah.
my son, especially Gabe, would go, look, he goes, I really want that extra thing. And Joy would go, no. And he'd give the eyes to Tammy, and Tammy would slide. And he'd be like, here you go. You can have this every time.
And
That's
I'm just going to put out there, and I mentioned the same thing yesterday. You have to be cut from the right cloth to serve 31 years in a school cafeteria. Kids behave differently in the cafeteria than they might in a classroom. And our kids were well cared for by everybody who works in our cafeteria, but certainly by Tammy. So thanks to her. And after many years of trying to remember my password on a little pen pad when I buy my lunch down there, she was successful in teaching me and me remembering it. So so congratulations to her, and thanks for your years of service.
Absolutely. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 I with regret.
Agreed.
Okay. So moved. Motion to accept with thanks and gratitude for exemplary service to the Fort Edward School District. Letter of resignation effective July 4th for the purpose of retirement for Michelle Sherwood, 30.
Motion.
Motion.
Is that James and Anita that I heard?
That was Chris.
Chris,
Chris and Anita, and someone's dog. Voting.
Mine. Sorry. It's loud.
Yes. So any discussion on that?
Rolling too.
I definitely will say, again, I mentioned it yesterday. Michelle, and anybody who's been here for any period of time knows that Michelle is the boss and the rest of us just work here. But she does a fantastic job for us and has been able to provide countless history lessons to me. She's held different positions, always in the business office, but also as board clerk, board secretary, all those types of things over her 30 years. And she does not like a lot of pomp and circumstance. Unfortunately, I let loose on the video presentation yesterday. So she was included in it, and she gave me the business about that. But thanks to her, and again, a position that we have a contingency built into our budget, knowing that that resignation was coming. So we will probably be talking about this young lady a little bit more in the future.
Well, that's a wealth of knowledge, and Michelle has always been extremely helpful anytime I've had any questions down there, and I know she served as a mentor for some folks while they were learning those positions down there as well. So
that business acumen will be sorely missed.
absolutely. So we have motions on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. So moved. Okay. Motion to accept with thanks and gratitude for exemplary service in the to the Fort Edward School District, the letter of resignation effective November 12th, 2020, for the purpose of retirement from Kimberly Rivers, 32 years.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Chris and Anita, any discussion? Wow, that's 32 years.
She was my Spanish teacher.
Really? That's great. Wow.
Well, it's your son, Chris. Now I'll take you off the hook. See,
So I'll probably say, I probably should do it now, but I reserve my comments on Miss Rivers for November. But I think that probably she's going to have her best Thanksgiving ever next year. But certainly 32 years here at the Fort is something to be applauded. And I thank her for her service as well. But she's got to come back in the fall. So we'll have some more contact for certain. But it will be difficult. In the climate currently, there's not a lot of Spanish teachers in the market. So we'll see how that goes. But I certainly want to thank Kim for her service, knowing that she's going to be back in the fall.
Muchas gracias, Ms. Rivers. Have motions on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so passed. Okay. Be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Fort Edward Union Free School District hereby abolishes the following positions in the following tenure areas effective June 30, 2020. Superintendent is directed to notify the affected staff members of this action. 2, 1 kindergarten, 1 fifth grade from the elementary teacher tenure area. one English teacher from the English teacher tenure area, one math teacher from the math teacher tenure area, one social studies teacher from the social studies teacher tenure area, two 12-month building principals from the building principal tenure area, and one teaching assistant from the teaching assistant tenure area. I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Chris and Mike, any discussion?
Just again, for clarity's sake, these are positions that were reduced in our proposed budget.
Right.
That failed.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. We have two motions. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I have to abstain.
Any opposed? Any abstention?
Yeah, I'm gonna abstain, please.
Is that Dan? Okay, Dan. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
One abstention. Okay. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Fort Edward Union Free School District hereby abolishes the following positions in following areas effective June 30, 2020. The superintendent is directed to notify the affected staff members of this action. One teacher's aide, one cook, and one bus driver cleaner. I need a motion.
So moved.
Motion.
Okay. Was it James that moved it?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't get the second.
Yes,
Toby.
seconded.
Second. Okay.
Who was the second? Was it Todd?
Yes, yes.
Todd second.
Todd, got it.
Okay. Thank you. It gets a little tricky hearing voices. So any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed?
And I'm gonna abstain.
And one abstention. Okay, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Fort Edward Union Free School District hereby creates the following positions in the following tenure areas effective July 1, 2020. The superintendent is directed to notify the individuals from the preferred eligibility list from any abolished positions within this tenure area. Two 10-month building principals from the building principal tenure area. Need a motion.
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 Anita and Chris, any discussion?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yes.
With the discussion coming up with the budget that we're going to represent, this could be affected. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it's not. It could be affected. Now, how should we vote on this? Should we go ahead and say, listen, this is what, as of right now, we're going to have it, and then we can if it is going to or is not, but we could rescind it after, or what's the proper way to go about that?
Yep. So provide some guidance there. So what I would suggest is that you do approve the positions, because that's what you asked me to put in the proposed budget. I realize that budget failed, but until we have a finance committee meeting and talk about what further reductions we'd be looking at in a contingency budget, this is everything we've talked about up to that point. Yes, we can take a different motion later on in a special meeting, or you could rescind these appointments. And just for clarity's sake, obviously the abolished positions just occurred in the motion above. So the recall list was immediately created from the two people that were abolished, and this is their opportunity to take a position of substantially the same work. So that's where you are. But yeah, you can do something differently later. My recommendation would be to say that this is the plan that we've talked about. That being said, the vote is yours.
Yeah, we're going to move forward with the vote. I got two motions on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
I'm going to vote no.
I'm gonna vote no too.
Dan and James? Any abstention? Okay, so that's 6 yay, 2 nay.
Now, 7 and 2, right? We're at 9
So we're
tonight.
9 now, yes. Okay, so it's 7-2. So motion passes. Excuse me. I need a motion to appoint Karen Jones to the position of the 10-month building principal in the 10-year area of building principal at a rate of pay and with benefits as negotiated. Ms. Jones remains eligible for tenure as of July 7, 2020, in accordance with the resolution approved by the Board of Education on March 9, 2020, and will have 4 years seniority in the building principal tenure area as of July 6, 2020. I need a motion.
Motion.
Seconded.
James and Todd, sounds like to me. Any discussion?
No, it wasn't me.
No,
Who was the
Joe?
first one?
that was me, Chris.
It was Chris and
Oh, I'm
Todd.
sorry, Chris and Todd. You guys
Okay.
sound way too similar.
Chris is doing his imitation. Knock it off, Chris.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so I have two motions on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Me. Again,
Me.
for consistency's sake, I gotta go.
So James and Anita are opposed, is that correct?
Yes.
Anybody abstaining?
Anyone abstaining?
Yes, Deanna's.
Dan. All right, so it's 6 yay, 2 nay, and 1 abstention. Okay, all right. Moving on. A motion to appoint Samuel Ratty to the position of a 10-month building principal in the 10-year area of building principal at a rate of pay and with benefits as negotiated. Mr. Ratty will continue his probationary appointment and will be eligible for tenure as of June 30th, 2022, in accordance with resolution approved by the Board of Education on June 10th, 2019, and will have 2 years seniority in the building principal tenure area as of June 30, 2020. Need a motion.
Motion.
Seconded.
Okay, Michael and Todd. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Again, I will for consistency's sake.
Any abstention?
Any abstention?
So that
Okay,
one's 8.
So it's 8-1. 8 yay, 1 nay. Okay, moving on. Okay. Be resolved that the Board of Education of the Fort Edward Union Free School District hereby reduces the following positions in following tenure areas effective June 30, 2020. The superintendent is directed to notify the affected staff members of this action. 2 school counselors from 1.0 FTE to 0.9 FTE in the school counselor tenure area. 1 school psychologist from 1.0 FTE to 0.9 FTE in the school psychologist tenure area. 1 pre-K teacher from 1.0 FTE to 0.5 FTE in the elementary teacher tenure area. 1 special education teacher from 1.0 FTE to 0.5 FTE in the special education tenure area. 1 music teacher from 1.0 FTE to 0.5 FTE in the music teacher tenure area. 1 science teacher from 1.0 to 0.8 FTE in the science teacher tenure area. 1 health FACS teacher from 1.0 FTE to 0.5 FTE in the health tenure area. 1 physical education teacher from 1.0 FTE to 0.8 FTE in the physical education tenure area, and 1 teaching assistant from 1.0 FTE to 0.5 FTE in the teaching assistant tenure area. I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion. Second.
Anita and Chris. Yeah, there's no doubt these are difficult motions, folks. Any discussion?
Again, it's just unfortunate that we're in this position to have to do this. It's a disservice to our kids, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm just gonna add, it's certainly, none of these reductions are any reflection on the individuals. You know, it's totally due to finance.
Mhm.
And it goes without saying that those are the most difficult letters I've ever had to send out. And certainly this is the most difficult set of agenda resolutions I've had to put together in my time as a school administrator.
Understood. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm going to abstain.
Any abstain? Okay, Dan's gonna abstain.
Thank you.
Okay, so that is 8-1 pass.
Yeah, 801.
801.
801, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm just reading forward because I want to make sure that I can actually make some of these motions here.
You can do R through T. And then we have a set of the athletics and extracurriculars, which I would recommend that we table. I would suggest you table everything else from U all the way to RR until after executive session. But you can definitely do R, S, and T prior to.
Right.
Again, it's my recommendation. It's the board's meeting.
That
Right,
makes sense, Dan. That makes sense.
We have to do that.
So let's do, I need a motion to appoint Keith Majeka as summer teacher of the hearing handicapped at a rate of pay per contractual rate.
Motion.
Wow, you guys jumped on that. I know I heard James and Mike. Okay.
James and Mike, I believe.
Mike, okay.
Yeah, you thought it wasn't.
Little MJ going on there. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Any abstention?
Nope.
Okay. All right. We're 9. Motion to appoint Marianne Roberts as the summer teacher of the hearing handicapped at a rate of pay per contractual rate.
Motion.
Motion.
Chris, Anita, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstention? No. Okay, passes 9.
Nope.
Motion to appoint Ryan Herman as public information specialist at a rate of pay of $4,000.
Motion.
Motion.
Yeah.
Anita, any discussion?
I want to get it on the record that just in producing our own newsletter this year with Ryan, rather than going to the BOCES, saved a $1,500 cost. And 2 years ago, when we were paying the BOCES to do this, although we receive aid back on BOCES services, the cost was somewhere around $26,000. And far and away, and again, I'm not speaking poorly about the BOCES, but far and away, Mr. Herman's ability to update our website and push stuff out and help me with the social media has been an astronomical improvement. So I want to recognize him for that. And I know you haven't voted yet, but he's certainly, there's been a lot of work in the last couple months with budget season. And he also, the same thing with that calendar, that blue and white calendar that we thought we weren't going to be able to do when we got rid of that service. He picked it up, and it's probably better than it's ever been and more accurate than it's ever been. So I just want to put that plug in for him.
No, great. There's been so much stuff put up on the board, on the website, and folks have been going back and looking at that stuff. And thank you, Mr. Herman, for that. So I have 2 motions. Go ahead.
I'll just throw one other thing. I'll echo that. I'm on the technology committee with him, and he's good. Not only is he good, he's on top of everything. But again, last year we tried to institute that, having programs for the parents to come in. He was all over that, did a nice job there. So I say the same thing, Dan. I completely agree with you.
Great.
Yep.
Excellent. So we have a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstention?
No, but Tom, I hope that, everyone is seeing all the cuts that have been made over the many, many years. Again, how bare bones our district really is as we move into our next budget that we propose. If you look at tonight's agenda, how many areas that we've tried to save money in the past. We have saved a lot of money, And it's just, there's nowhere else to go. So I just want to point that out. It's just, you know, we just keep bringing these things up, and wow. I mean, the district has tried to cut everywhere we could.
Yeah, no, good point, Todd. Thank you. So I need a motion to table items U through RR.
Motion.
Second.
Nita and Joe, any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
So I just want to mention that we also are going to have that Wishwe BOCES food services contract that we're going to add as a motion after executive session once you folks have seen it, as long as you approve for me to add it to the agenda. But we really want to get that passed this evening if possible, so I can bill the Wishwe BOCES for that service we provided to them. So I just want the public to hear that again.
Yeah, no, that's understood. I just need a final vote on that table motion. Anyone opposed? Any abstention? All right, so
Abstain.
I'm sorry?
I will abstain on that one.
Okay, so Dan's going to abstain on it. So it's 8-0-1 for tabling the U through RR. Okay. At this point, we are about to go into executive session. There is likely going to be some business when we come out of executive session. Not for sure, but I'm thinking there will be. So members of the public, we would leave this meeting, the board would leave this meeting, enter executive session in another meeting, and then come back to this meeting when our business is complete in exec. Prior to going into exec, though, we offer a community comment portion prior to the going exec based on some of the discussion we had this evening. If anyone would like to speak or say something, please let us know in the chat, and we'll have you address the board. While we wait for anyone to say anything, I am going to go back. I don't want to make this a precedent, but I do want to go back and address a couple of things that I had seen mentioned earlier today. So I want to address that. Before I address you, Mr. Lyle, please give me a second.
Get your orange.
A couple of things where Ms. Salzman had said something regarding my comment that it was demeaning. I apologize if you took it the wrong way, Ms. Salzman, if you're still there. I certainly didn't say everyone that voted no. I want to be clear in saying that I know some people that voted strictly on a number and not with much recognition to what goes behind that number. So I'm going to stand by my statement, but I certainly didn't mean it to affect every single person that said no. There are a lot of valid no's out there. Folks are worried about their home and their taxes and things like that. So they're valid as yes votes. But I do think that some folks may have made a no vote without knowing the whole picture and how it affects. And my statement was made to simply address some of those people if possible. The other thing that we're talking about, someone asked about why we're talking about a school outside of our county. We had 2 schools that we could have had discussions of merger or annexation with, and we chose one of those 2. Someone made reference to the 19% was not acceptable. Some things that Mr. Traskos mentioned certainly worth following up on. I think most of the rest of the stuff was congratulations and thank yous and things of that point. So if anyone did make a comment after those comments and wanted it to be heard right now, we'll give you the opportunity. I do see Jody had mentioned a few things, would like DOE to seriously consider bring back special ed. This could be significant cost savings. If we have a revote, encourage you to add the busing back. Last year, the cost of the district approximately $5,000. I think I want to look into that number, but you may be correct. To bus the kids. it's peanuts in comparison to a child getting hit by a vehicle. I certainly would agree with that statement. Something.
Please call me.
So something looking possibly voting machines. We talked about that. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Okay, so I don't think there's anything. Oh, hold on. Some things came through here. Mr. Lyle, why don't you speak, and then we'll address the few that came in.
Okay, thank you, Tom. I kept getting kicked off. I'm sorry. I just wanted to address what you said about communicating with the community. I didn't know, and I've worked at Fort Edward for at least 27 years, and I've had kids at Fort Edward for 17 years. I did not know until very recently in one of the virtual meetings that we lost 40% of our income when GE left. And I've worked here for years and years and years. The people that I've talked to didn't realize the extent. And when I've talked to them, they've said, well, if we lost 40% when they left, how are we making it? And I said, because we've gotten help from the state government. Then the water company came in, the dewatering plant, and then they left. And now that's all drying up. And that's why it happened. If I don't know it, I'm sure that there's a lot of people that don't know it. And I don't know how to get that out there. If maybe the board could make a comment in the Post-Star or something, because I don't think people really realize that we lost 40% and we've been keeping it together like that. So I just wanted to agree with you and say, I think you're absolutely right. And with the new businesses coming in, it's taken a while, but I know something was mentioned about they could go back down when like the plastic company comes in and so those other things. I just feel like if it was communicated to the community that there is hope, we just need to hold on and get through this crisis.
No, I appreciate what you said, Mr. Lyle, and you're absolutely true. And we've referred to this a while ago, prior to very recently, where we were able to have virtual meetings and discuss these things. For the better part of our meetings, and you've been at several, and some other teachers have been there, and a few parents have been there, but our crowds are not 79 people at board meetings for the past 5 years that we've been kind of talking about this. So when you look at communicating, you depend on your social media and your website and talking to people in the field and folks like the Families for Fort Edward that put a message out there over the last couple of weeks. But it doesn't get to everyone. And sometimes we're at a loss. We put things in the paper and it's interpreted in one way or comment on in another. But I agree with what you're saying. We do have to reach everyone that wants to have a say. I think people should vote based on facts, what they know, what they feel, and then make a responsible vote. And I am afraid that we're not getting the message out to everyone. And Dan does.
And I totally agree with you, because I didn't. 40% is huge.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that they were even part of Fort Edward Village, that they contributed GE. I thought it was the workers, and that so many people worked from Fort Edward in the plant, and it was their income lost. I didn't realize that the company paid, and I just think that's huge.
Right. Well, GE up in Route 4 certainly is in a different taxing entity, but the dewatering facility absolutely affected us when they came in, when they left. And Dan does a great job, I think, of doing a lot of presentations. We've ramped them up. We've added some special effects and PowerPoint slides and things like that. But we do have to expand our audience somehow and get our message out there. Go ahead, Dan.
Tom, can I jump in just for a second? Not that we want to have a back and forth, and thank you, Debbie, for your comments. But I want to just get some numbers on the record. So if you've got a pen and pencil out there, folks, this is worth writing down. And we have shared it at our public events. But I get that not everybody's there. And that's kind of what Tom was saying, responding to Debbie, that in the 2015-16 school year, the assessed value of the village of Fort Edward, of our school district, was $176,882,000. $176,985,306. I'll say it again, $176,985,306 in 2015-16. For 2020-2021, the assessed taxable value of the Fort Edward Village, therefore the school district, is $102,791,156. That is certainly the money that we ask for in tax levy affects what people's tax bills are. But that drop in assessed value, and you're right, the number, I don't have the percentage rate in front of me, but it's I think it's around 42 or something like that. That is driving the tax rate up, because the tax levies that the tax levy that we went out with this year, and the resulting tax rate that was in the budget newsletter was based on a $3,605,000. That levy is lower than the levy was for the taxpayers in 2016-17. And I won't get into a bunch of numbers on it, but I have a graph of levies, and I have a lot of this information. I've been doing a lot of historical and contextual research to try to provide better understanding and better information to people that are looking for it. So hopefully those numbers, Debbie, you were able to get those written down. So we've lost, $74 million in assessed value in our community in how many budget years is that? 1, 2, in 4 budget years. That's just unheard of. And any school district that lost that amount of that percentage of assessed value would be sitting in the same seat that Fort Edward is right now. They would be. And what we did in the years in between, and your response and how you said you respond to people was fairly accurate. We knew what was happening. We reduced the tax levy in my first year here. We reduced it by $625,000, which is roughly 17%. We did a 17% reduction in the first year on the tax levy. That's the amount we asked the taxpayers for. And we held that steady in 18-19. We added $8,000 last year in 19-20. And then this year, yes, we were asking for about $600,000 more dollars from the taxpayers. And that's because we ran out. We used up our savings account. Our fund balance is gone. And that extra aid that we were able to advocate for and get is gone. That's why that jump has to happen. And we knew when we reduced the levy by $625,000, it was a temporary thing and we couldn't maintain it forever. And the reason for doing that, and the board members that were on the board at that time, was to buy the district time for something different to happen with businesses coming into our community, or for additional state aid to come through, or for difficult decisions like annexation and merging to be thought about over a few years, not to be made in one single year. So that's where we are. We just don't have the money. But I can go back to 2011 and 2012 and tell you that the levy that year was $3,315,000, $308,000 more than what we had out there this year, 6 years later. And everybody knows, and I realize, and it's not lost to me, that people are on hard times. But everybody knows you can't run a school district or any business or anything in your own life it doesn't cost the same 6 years later. It just doesn't. So that's just some information for you. Mostly you were asking about the taxable value. So we have lost a little over $74 million in 4 years.
Thank you, Dan. And it's all information that I think we've talked about, but it's good when we put it out in that way, very direct, very transparent. It's just the way it is. We're running out of money, unfortunately. We've tried to make decisions. A lot of the aid we got from Dan's hard work in Albany had a lot to do with the understanding that we're giving ourselves time to make the tough decisions. There are people who want to work to keep the school in the village and keep it at a great level where we want to keep it. We look at the finances, and we don't know if that's going to be a possibility. So the board looked into annexation with South Glens Falls, and that's a process that's going on. It was meant so that we don't have an abrupt disruption of quality education, knowing that money was getting tight. And what we're looking at right now, and I know some folks think we can do different, and maybe there's a few things we can do different, but we certainly can't go back to $3 million and operate the school. We certainly can't go much less than what we put out there and have a quality education. I think people understand that. But there's a lot of emotion attached to those decisions and things, but we're all working this year to get this done and doing what we can do. Next year is going to bring a very similar situation. And we're going to have to make other decisions a year from now. So the more you take, the less you have going forward. And that's why we look to annexation studies and things like that. The worst thing the board thought about was knowing what we're looking at and gutting the school for a year or 2 years or 3 years and further reductions as the years go by. Is that worth fighting for? Can we sustain the school that we want to keep on the finances that we have and we know we have? Amazon comes in tomorrow and puts a building in the dewatering facility. Some great things happen. Pilots go. Things like that happen. Yeah, we can work. We can do what we have to do to keep the school moving forward. What we don't want to do is gut it every year and then at the end say, well, holy cow, maybe we should have done something differently. Maybe we needed information to do something different. Those are the decisions that are made in the boardroom. And everyone in the public is making great suggestions, and folks have great ideas. And when we sit in the boardroom, we discuss them and try to make the best decisions for the children first and the stakeholders second. And the stakeholders include everyone, the taxpayers, the faculty, the administration, everyone. So I hope the message is getting across to folks that, you know, we're not sitting on a bunch of money that we're hiding. We're not spending money gratuitously. No one's getting gold Chromebooks or anything like that. We are running very lean. And every time we have to take a step back and look at things and change things, it has to mean balancing a budget that everyone can accept. I probably went on too long with my answer, but that's just where we're at, folks. And we are open to all suggestions, believe me. I'm going to go back to the chat unless somebody wants to add something to Mr. Lyle's conversation. Okay. So Ms. Traskis, does accepting the CSE recommendations a few moments ago take a consideration of not tuitioning kids off the table when looking at any further reductions? I don't think that's the case at all. We acted on the recommendations, and I imagine if we made any decision that affected that, it could be, if reversed is the right word, maybe. Dan, am I correct on that?
Yes. So, and I can, and Aaron, you can certainly jump in, but those decisions are made by the committee, and so we can't just say we're pulling them back. We have to have an appropriate program for students to be here, and you have to know that it has to follow the proper process. Some of those recommendations, I'm sure, included ESY for students, so they have to be approved so that those students can attend the appropriate summer school sessions. And there are some places holding in-person summer school sessions, which we have students that attend. We don't have every available program here at Fort Edward, and we can't just say that, well, folks, we're having difficulty money-wise, so although your child needs a 412 behavioral program, they're just going to come back to Fort Edward because we know we can do it. We can do it here more cost effectively, unless we have an appropriate program here that's appropriately staffed. Although I see the comments that people are making, and I understand it, and certainly we're looking at that, and Mrs. Jones can say that we're still looking at it. We're definitely still looking at it, but for now we have to keep the kids in programming, and more likely than not, to bring some of those students back means we'd have to add staff here, which sometimes is more cost effective, and sometimes is not more cost effective based on the BOCES aid or the high cost aid that we receive back through the STAC process. Mr. Jones, any thoughts on that or comments to?
Sure. Just to say that the Committee on Special Education, meets and collaboratively discusses the best plan for each student. And the intention is always the least restrictive environment, which would be the home school. And whenever it is appropriate to do so, we bring the students back to their home school at Fort Edward. And we have done that with a couple of our students that had been in other placements this year. We have also accepted students from other districts, including Whitehall, Hartford, and Greenwich, into our programs to generate some tuition income for Fort Edward. So it's a two-way street. It's really hard when students move into the district that are very, very high needs special education students. For example, I had 4 move in over the past semester who had been in residential care. We can't bring those students in district. We simply can't. But it is important to note, as Mr. Ward said, that with high cost special education students, we do get a significant portion of their cost back through the STAC process.
Yep. Thanks, Mrs. Jones. And certainly, I know that nobody out there is advocating for any student not to get a free and appropriate public education. People have different understandings of how the process works and about how the aid flows back on those high cost placements other places. And believe me, we look at those costs, and I wish that we could have appropriate placements here in our building for those students. The fact of the matter is that we don't. And some of our students, we can't even find an appropriate placement in state based on some very, very, very high and specific needs that they have as determined by the committee. But certainly we're looking at it. Those recommendations, I think it's Mike under Carrie's name, doesn't mean that if we were to have a program or one came available, it might be more cost effective because it's closer and there's less transportation costs, that we couldn't transfer a student. But also continuity for special education students is very important for them to be successful in their programs. It is for every student, but specifically with certain students with certain disabilities, it is of tantamount importance. But we do look at it, and Karen knows, Mrs. Jones knows that I ask her every time we're doing something, and she tells me every time we're doing something. It's got to be what's appropriate for the child, and then it's got to be, that's number one, and number two, it's got to be the most cost-effective way we can do it. But the student's needs, not wants, needs must be number one. I don't know if any, I think that answers that question.
Yeah. No, and there are considerations that go beyond these decisions that are obviously not as easy or flippant as just changing a decision made tonight. I didn't mean it in any way like that, but I didn't know what the process was. So it might not be something that works for us, or it might be something to look into. We'll look into it, but at the end of the day, it's what's best for the kids, and then what is most cost effective.
Right, and the board plays no role in deciding to bring those kids back. It's the committee. Right. I can't overrule the committee and say you're bringing these kids back. The committee decides it. That's the way it works. That is the law. That is federal law. So and I get that you want to provide the clarification.
Good, perfect, thank you. Chris Boucher, there's some suggestions that the community group has. We strongly support bringing back any students that are sent out for discipline reasons. Also, going to K-12 principal needs to happen. Any savings from contract negotiations or renegotiations with teachers and support staff should be used to reduce the levy increase to an acceptable level. Each of these suggestions are yearly savings. The main goal of the community group who pushed the budget to the community is keeping the school. That's plainly understood. Again, I think we had spoke about how to apply the teachers' contribution. Certainly, it would have reduced the tax levy, but it would have left us a larger gap and would have had to make more cuts because we needed all the money we could get to keep the school at a certain level, and to reduce the levy would have been against what we were thinking. The other point about the principal, certainly that's been brought up a lot. The board's position has been that Dan's work outside of the school with lobbying for us and so many duties that fall under Dan that he takes care of. Certainly, we need a structure of principals to help our teaching staff, our faculty, how the school runs day to day, and again, pushing that rock up the hill to progress our students forward. We believe the 3 administrator system is our best option for that. We got some give backs from both all those positions, and if you take a look at the percentage of the budget that those positions occupy, there is not an increase over the past several years as that goes. So we're getting the give backs like we are from every other portion of the school. But of course, now that we're sitting in this position, we are going to look at a whole lot of things as we see how we're going to go back out with a budget. So we'll keep the discussion open, but that's been the board's position as stated. Ms. Janier agrees with Chris. There was a time when there was one principal and it worked fine. I think that's open to interpretation as well and opinion. As far as I'm concerned, I was involved when we had that structure. I don't know if it, I think I like this structure better. We need to get the kids we tuition out back, maybe take kids from other schools. I think we do in some cases, as Ms. Jones said, but of course we're going to look at all those things. I understand the times. I understand the times of when board meetings are hard to schedule. I believe it's Ms. Thole, are hard to schedule, but it's very hard for working parents and parents who need to cook dinner and get their kids to bed. These virtual meetings for me have been great because I am able to listen while taking care of my children. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's something we'll probably add even when we go back to regular meetings. A lot of our board members also cook dinner for our children as well. And my kids like it better when Barb does it, but I try to do it every once in a while as well. So I know we're all busy. We're putting in the time. I think the virtual meetings will be great to keep it going and make it more accessible to people. So thank you for your point. Ms. Flexen, the GE plants paid taxes. Correct. The one on Route 4 did. I think Ms. Delisle was referring to the GE dewatering facility that came into the village. And that's, I believe, that's what Ms. Delisle was talking about. Unfortunately, you're right. Even though the GE plant was in Fort Edward, the revenue and the taxes from that went north, like so many other businesses up there that sit in Fort Edward. And it would be great if we could have gotten that line redrawn up to the cemetery so we can include all those children and include all that revenue from those places. I think we'd be in a lot better position, but someone had access to a crayon back in 1950 and made a circle, and undoing that circle, from what I understand, would take a miracle or an act of.
And for the record, we've asked many times about that.
Yeah, we tried, and we had some traction too with some policymakers as well, but it just is not in the cards, and it would have to be agreeable by Hudson Falls as well, and I don't think they would have just said sure, take all that stuff. It would have been great if they did. Would have been wonderful act of a neighbor, but I don't think that's going to happen. So that's where we stand. I think our position would be much better if that stuff was undone. Many, let me see, Mr. Ward, you're doing a great job. Thank you. You're not dealing with a simple situation. Jessica Jarvis said that. Many people do not know the fact about the levy from 2011 to 12, and that is still less now. It is still less now. We will be telling many people that for the revote. Thank you, Taylor Boucher. Good point.
Yeah, so let me jump in
Yeah.
real quickly. And I know we want to, the time we normally put out there for community comments. So let me show, just to make sure I didn't misspeak, Taylor, I want to just quickly show a graph for folks. And if you're able to see it, if Toby, if you can shake your head yes when you're able to see it. So I just want to show this. This is the Fort Edward tax levy from 2009-10 forward. So the number we were asking for this year, I don't know if you can see my cursor. The number we were asking for this year was $3,605,349. Is it big enough so people can actually see it, or should I blow it up?
No, blow it up, Dan. Maximize it. I think that might help, or something.
Got it on the screen here. That's not. Well, you know what I'll do? I will. Let's see if I can make it work. If I can't, either way, I'm going to get this posted on our website for people. Let me get it where I can try to make it.
There you go.
A higher percentage.
We're seeing the numbers now, Dan.
You seeing the numbers now?
Yes.
Yes.
I can see them without my glasses now.
So this number over here on the over here, the 3,605,000 is what we were asking for this year. You can see that and there's 2 years. There's the 3 million and the 3,184,000. That 184 was the budget that failed a couple of years ago. So we had 3 million for 2 years. Then we had 3,008,000 last year. We went back to asking. We asked for 3,600,000 in the proposed budget that was defeated yesterday. But you can see previous to that, back for the 16-17 budget, 15-16, 14-15, and I have it all the way back to 09 on this one chart, and I'll put it on our school website, that the portion, the amount of money being asked for from the taxpayers was, $3,464,000 5 years ago. Let's see, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. So certainly we can't, that's why we're saying we can't ride at 3 million. That was due to a lot of extra money that we pulled in here. And I'll get that graph out so people can have it. And those numbers are all taken from the budget newsletters that were sent out to the community. And when I show the whole graph, I know it's going to make the numbers small for folks. When I show the whole graph, oh yeah, here I can blow it up. And you'll be able to see over here at this end, even back in 2009, 2010. So that's at 12 years ago, 11 years ago. The community was being asked to pay $3.3 million 12 years ago. So even if you just take 2% of that, which would be adding $66,000 a year, do that times 10 years, 66,000 times 10 is $660,000, which means even if we increase the levy by a simple 2% every year for the past 10 years, we'd be at a levy of like $3.9 million. They were kind of doing that. You can see it. They held it steady for a couple of years there. And then it went up by little. And this is the year right here where we dropped it from 3.625, which was an approved supermajority. It was passed the May before I started here. The next year we dropped it to a cool 3 million because we saw the writing on the wall with the dewatering facility and didn't want people to take a huge hit on their tax bills until we could try to figure things out. And now we're kind of at the end of figuring things out. That doesn't mean that people can afford more taxes. I know that, but I want to get this information out to people, Taylor, like you and everybody, so they have it because it's real information. It's just data. And the factor pushing the rate to be different from the 16-17 budget to the proposed 2021 budget isn't the levy, it's the assessed value of our community due to the loss of the dewatering facility assessed value. That's basically the number one thing. It's gone, it's never coming back. I know I got to stop saying that, but just want it to be the right information that people are hearing and understanding of what goes into that tax rate. So I will stop sharing that, but I will get that out on the website for folks to have access to.
It's good info, Dan. Okay. I'm going to keep going on unless someone on the board has something to say. I think the next item down is Jill Boucher. This is why it's so important to work as a whole. We need to look at all sides of the budget. It can't just be teachers and support staff. Other aspects need to be looked at. We have a huge community support, and we need to work together. Please listen to the suggestions. I believe we will, and we do need to work together. Thank you for that. Brooke Birch, can I ask how many students we bus out? Because we don't have the proper program or class for them, and how much are we paying? So is that an answer we're ready to answer right now, or is it some kind of research we need to do?
I think that Mrs. Jones can probably give general summary information. And if you can't, Mrs. Jones, it's okay to say I don't have it available to me right now, but some general summary, if it's possible, would be great. And if not, we'll get something together that's more specific.
I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I think it's around maybe about 10 students or 12 that are bused out for purely special education reasons. Of course, there are other students who go to BOCES for CTE and things like that. But I'd have to look it up to know exactly.
And can you just add to that piece? How do you know about how many we're bringing in as tuition students? And again, just about.
At this time, we're bringing in 5.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'm going to ask that we don't have any further comment. I'm going to read what's left, and then we still have business to attend to, unfortunately. Mr. Boucher, we're talking about the students that are out for discipline, behavioral reasons only. They can be brought back and reintegrated into classrooms. I think the point may have been made about needing the staff for that and how the aid winds up for that and things like that. Is that on par, Dan, or is there something else to add?
Yeah, so we'll look at it. I think there's some students. I think maybe the question is this, and I won't get the number configurations exactly right because I don't have those memorized on the students going someplace. But a student who needs a 412, we might have a 412 here, and again, I don't know that we do. We may have a program here with the same number configuration, but it's not known as a behavior intervention classroom, whereas somebody else has a 412 or whatever number that's a behavior intervention. I think that's what's being addressed there. And that's certainly something that we can and do look at. So the comment is appreciated. And then I see Mrs. Delisle was just saying that, yeah, she knew which GE we were talking about, but yeah, it's the dewatering facility is the one that's bothering us. The one up the street across McDonald's is Hudson Falls School District's issue.
All right, so last one is Ms. Stoll. The chart would have been helpful to send with the ballot so people could see. You know, we talk about this information, Ms. Stoll, and then as we see results come in, we say, what can we do? What else can we do? And I think some of that stuff's been talked about before. I also wonder how many people voted no for the budget because there were still teachers losing their jobs, and the kids would still not be able to get to school and home safely for those. I'm sure folks had their own reasons for voting no, and some of those may have been reasons as well. All right, without any further board comment to anything, I think I need to make a motion to enter executive session, discuss matters referring to the employment of specific individuals and contract negotiations. Need a motion?
Make a motion.
Sounded like Mike and Chris. The Board of Education members and other individuals invited into executive session are reminded that all matters discussed during executive session must be kept in the strictest confidence. I have motions. I need all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I was going to say that. Not this time.
Just to chalk one up, right?
Just give me a second, Tom. So folks in the public, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this recording, and then the board's going to go on to a different link and have a confidential meeting executive session. Dan, I will send that link to your personal email since you don't have a board email yet, and we'll get in. It's the same type of meeting, obviously confidential in nature. And that once executive session's over, folks from the public will come back into this link, and then I'll restart the recording, and then we'll complete our meeting.
Okay.
Just for folks who haven't been here before with us. I just wanted to ask the board, do you need the principals in executive session? Toby, I think I can handle everything after executive session because you had a late night. So at least one of us should be able to get out of here by 9:30 today. And then do you need Charlene in executive session? So the board members, do you need the principals and or Charlene for executive session?
I would say no.
No.
Nope, they're good. Thank you, guys.
No.
And I'll just ask, Charlene, do you want to be in executive session for anything? Do you think you need to be?
I leave that up to you, Dan.
I think I can catch you up as well. I know you've been putting in a lot. Everybody's putting in crazy time right now, and we're going to have some more evening meetings. So I think we'll let you off the hook at 9:15 tonight.
Yeah, we'll need you for finance committee, I'm sure. Okay.
I want to thank the members from the public that were here, and please keep showing up because we're going to need your help to get this thing across the finish line. And so I'm going to stop recording. Like I said, board members, give me just a minute. I'll send you a new link, and we'll go from there.
Great. Thank you, folks. If we don't see you when we get back out, thank you for joining.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm starting to record the session again for all those folks from the public that are still in the Google Meet. All right, let's just make sure we got everything here. All right, I just want to make sure that everybody from the board made it back. Still got like 29 people strong in here. All right, I can see. Let me do it this way, board members. If I could just, I can see you, James. So I'm just going to go down through and do. Could each board member actually? How about Anita? Are you there?
I'm here.
Let's see. Tom, are you there? Not yet. Ella, I can see. Ella, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Todd Tyler,
Here.
Mike Glass,
I'm here.
Dan Shields,
Yeah, I'm here.
Joe Carroll,
Present.
Chris Miles,
Yeah, I'm here.
Tom Roche. Did you make it back over? Looks like yeah. There's Tom. And did I forget a board member?
James Donahue.
James Donahue. I saw him.
You did me first.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for thinking of me, Mike.
I got everybody. One. I'm just counting. 1, 2. I'm double checking. 1, 2, 3,
Ella.
4. Yeah, I saw Ella. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Is Todd here?
9. Yeah, all 9 are here.
Yes.
Yeah, all 9. Okay, Tom, you're back in business. The board members are all here. I want to thank the public for hanging out for us. And I believe, Tom, you're going to go back up and start with
Personnel A, correct?
let's get it figured out here real quick. Yeah, I gotta
I
get
think
back
it's
to the right
personnel.
page. Yep, there it is.
Okay, so we have three, right? We have A, B,
A through G.
A through G, and then we have other, correct?
Other's gonna be outside of personnel. We'll do it last.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so 1, 2, 3. Yeah. All right, can I get a motion to approve personnel items A through G?
I make a motion.
Second.
Mike, Anita? Any discussion? Obviously, we had discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain. Joe.
Go. Okay, so we got one. So we got 8-0-1. Motion passes. Okay, awesome. All right, thank you, folks. And then we have the other's going to be under what category, Dan?
So we're still moving through. Moving through personnel. You're going to letter U.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. So the motion was made to table those.
So we just
specific-
want to let people know that that's our final decision on that tonight.
Yeah. So we're going to remain. Those things are going to remain tabled. U through double R. Is that correct?
No, you're going to go U through
PP.
Yeah, U through PP would be tabled.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Yeah. All right. U through. We've already tabled them, right? So they're going to remain tabled, correct?
You have, so you're going to act on QQ and RR.
Right. So So let's amend the motion. Then. I need a motion to table U through PP.
Motion.
Until next week. Anita,
Second.
Joe, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay.
9-0.
So moved. Okay, so I need a motion to extend the employment of Superintendent Daniel Ward through June 16th, 2025. I need a motion.
I make a motion.
Mike,
I second.
Anita? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you for everything that you do, Dan.
Yes.
Anybody opposed? Anybody?
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you,
Okay.
everyone. I appreciate it very much.
Well deserved, Dan. Thank
We
you.
appreciate it, Dan.
And I need a motion to approve the contractual changes as included in the board packets of the current agreement between the Fort Edward Union Free School District and Superintendent Daniel A. Ward. I need a motion.
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 Mike and Chris.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstentions?
I abstain, Tom.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
So 8-0-1.
Got it. And then we have one item that's going to be other, and it's going to be the approval of the contract for cafeteria services between the Fort Edward Union Free School District and the WSWHE BOCES.
Need a motion as stated, folks.
Motion.
Motion.
Anita and Dan Shields. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Cool. Okay, so moved. All right. So we do have a date set for our next meeting. And is there any other business?
So I want to speak to the Support Staff Association agreement. Now that you folks have approved it, a heartfelt thanks from the board and from me to the Support Staff Association and all the hard work of its members and its leadership to come to the table to provide that MOA. Estimated savings on that are about $85,000 for certain, above $80,000. That's applaudable.
Tremendous.
Tremendous
Thank
You did a great job.
employees, and we just want to express our extreme thankfulness for your hard work and bringing that across, and the dedication that your membership and your leadership are showing to our school district. And we didn't want to leave the meeting tonight without saying that. Additionally, the proposed savings to the district based on the acceptance, the agreement of the proposal between the district and the superintendent, Daniel Ward, which is me, is projected to be over $13,000, actually closer to $14,000 from this year's expected costs. So together, those two are about between $90,000 and $100,000 total savings. So we wanted to make sure, the board asked that we made sure that was on the record for this evening. So thank you very much to the support staff. That's fantastic, and we really appreciate it.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Great.
All yours, Tom.
Thank you. Okay, with no further business, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Anita's the fastest motion. Anita, I didn't get a second though. Is Mike? Okay. Mike's final motion of.
Yeah. Thank you.
is
Parting
good.
gesture.
Thank you for that, Mike. We will see you in finance though.
Yeah.
Okay. So all in
Hey,
favor?
My last meeting, 11:20 at night. Really.
Thank Mike for getting us out at 11:20. Thanks, Mike.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining?
Sure, no.
9-0-0. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Everybody from the public who was hanging out there, thank you for being involved in the process. I am going to stop the recording, and that will end our recording for tonight. It will be posted, and just to put it out there again, I did forget to click the record button for about the first portion of the meeting. I apologize. Nothing I can do to bring it back, but the portion that we did record will be there for everybody on our website as soon as we can get it posted. And also that back on the tax levy will be posted as soon as we can get it posted. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, folks. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks.
Take care.
Welcome, Mr. Shields. Have a good night.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Nice meeting you.